grab your ball. Yep, your Pilates ball. You're gonna put it between your knees, a little bit higher than your knee joint. And then I want you to make sure you have some space behind you on the carriage and that your heels are right underneath your knees. Your toes are parallel, so your feet are both pointing the same direction. Take a second before we go anywhere. I just want you to breathe. Tip your pelvis back just a little bit and then come back onto your sit bones. Same thing, opposite direction. So you're gonna tip forward from your pelvis and then come back into the center. Let's do 5 more. We're just kind of tipping back and forth, thinking that you're trying to sit up tall while you do it. This is your last one. Great, so find yourself kind of in that neutral pelvis. You feel like you're sitting up tall. Double check the feet pointing towards the wall. Great. So I want you to squeeze on this ball 10 times. However, I want you to make sure you're thinking about your inner thighs going together. You're so excited to do Pilates, and that's fine. So you're just squeezing 10 times. 10. Trying to keep the whole foot down on the floor. Yep, so we're trying not to pick up our heels, which is why you don't have to squeeze quite as hard. Yep. After your 10th one, pause for a second. All right, now we're gonna squeeze and hold. So you're sitting up tall. You find that squeeze from the inner thighs like they're trying to meet. 9, 8, keep breathing. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the ball a little bit. Great, find a little squeeze on the ball. Right leg is gonna stay stable. Left leg is gonna squeeze in. We're doing 10, you got this. Remember, you don't have to do this with 100% of your effort. I want you to think like 5 out of 10. Good job keeping that foot down. And we're gonna switch to the same thing with the other leg. Try to keep that left knee right in front of your hip joint. Yeah. After your 10th one, you'll stop for a second. Great. Find a small squeeze on that ball, like a little bit smaller than that and more from your inner thighs. There you go. Okay, I want you to just pick up your toes for me. And down. Keep that squeeze on the ball. Keep breathing. I know it's so hard to remember to keep breathing because we like to facilitate our effort by holding our breath, but it tends to make people's faces turn red, not really conducive to moving well throughout life. And after your 10th one, you're gonna put your toes down. All right, now I want you to keep the toes and the balls of your feet down. Little squeeze on that ball from the inner thigh. A little bit less of a squeeze. Less squeeze than that even. Right there. Now I want you to pick up both of your heels. Put them down as slow as you can. So we're really thinking about moving through our foot. You can almost feel something's gotta happen in the region of your butt and the back of your thighs. Yeah, you just got this little squeeze. Relax your shoulders. They can't stop me from forcing you to do this series. Sorry. Great. And after your last one, you get to be so excited because you don't have to hold on to that ball anymore. Yay! Whee! Just drop it off to the side. Now I want you to grab your magic circle. You're gonna put both legs through your magic circle. And I'd like that right above your knee joint, so it's not on your knee joint. Now, could you get your feet hips distance apart? You know, that's usually for most of us like 1 to 2 of our fists in between our feet. Feet are parallel. I want you to just, before we start, just tip back and forth on your pelvis a couple times. The only thing moving here, hopefully, is your pelvis, what's bringing you back, and maybe it's tipping you forward a little bit. One more. Both directions, and then you're gonna find that neutral pelvis. So you're sitting up reasonably tall, kind of on your sit bones. Can I adjust your feet for a second?
Yes.
Okay, so it's really easy for our heels to move and our toes to be somewhere else. There we go. So now they kind of nice and parallel, like a little road area thing. Woo! Okay, so press out 10 times. Think about it like you're trying to, excuse the term, widen your butt crack. Widening your butt crack hopefully will not make your neck tense. If it does, just do less. One of the nice things about a lot of this that we're doing right now is that you don't, and I kind of don't want you to, do it as hard as you can. Yep. Now, push out and hold. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great, release a little bit. Okay, I want like maybe a 4 out of 10 pressure from both legs. Right leg is gonna stay stable. If you wanna put your hand on top of that thigh, you can. Left leg, foot stays down, but it's moving out to the side. Good, so it's not as huge as it would be if you were picking up that foot. We're just doing 10 on this side. Still breathing. All right, after your 10th one, pause for a second. We're gonna switch legs. Think that you're sitting up tall before that leg goes anywhere. Yeah, and I want you to focus on keeping this toe down. There you go. Great. Take a deep breath. You're gonna press out just a little with both legs. Remember, this is kind of a widening your hips feeling more than just trying to push your knees away from each other. A little bit less, just a pinch. Can you pick up your toes now? Keep the balls of your feet down, and they go down. We've got 10, hot diggity. Maybe your other hand comes down beside you. Yeah, because your shoulders don't need to do anything right now, except, remain attached, which they're doing wonderfully. After your 10th one, I want you to pick up your heels as high as they go, and slower than that, put them down. Usually when we're lifting and lowering our heels in Pilates, we get a little help, whether it's because we're standing and putting all of our weight on our feet, or because we're maybe laying down with our feet against something like a foot bar and the spring. But what if we concentrated on really using those arches of our feet, making sure we're putting weight into the balls of our feet? I don't know. Could be good things. After your last one, you'll think nice thoughts about me and take the ring off. Great job. Put that off to the side. You can just hang out. Scoot those heels back out for me just a little bit. So they're underneath your knees. Your feet are a hip distance apart. Your feet are firmly planted. And your hands can just hang out on top of your thighs for the moment. We're going to practice some rollbacks here. It's really important that you're able to get your feet solidly on the floor and that you have some space behind you. So, almost like you were going to put down the tag of your pants. I want you to start to roll yourself backwards, pelvis first. Your hands can slide. They're going to have to, and come back up. Feel how your feet started to pick up? Let's stop before the feet pick up. So you have to be able to keep that firm contact with the floor and come back up. Nice. So you're rolling back and coming back up. What if you took your hands? We've got some options here. You can put both hands on your chest. Relax the shoulders a little bit. It's kind of like, oh, my Lanta. Or you can do a genie arm. Doesn't matter which hand's on top. Or you can reach the arms out straight in front of you. Which one would you like to do today?
Let's try the arms out straight.
Okay, so think about keeping those shoulders connected through the armpits. Start to roll yourself back and then come back up. So I want you to really focus on keeping energy from the ball of your feet down, come back in. Maybe step your feet a little closer together, towards each other. There you go. Can you stay round as you come back up? And now sit up tall. There you go. Yep, and you can always change your arms. The further away from you the arms are, the harder it's going to be. Beautiful. Come all the way up. Let your arms come down for a second. Roll your shoulders one direction. Roll your shoulders the opposite direction. If you're gonna go back to genie arms, I want you to put the arm that feels less natural on top. So what did you do last time? Go the other way. Yep. So with your elbows out, think a little bit about connecting your armpits onto your back. We're not gonna move as far on this one, and I'm actually gonna come hold your feet just because. I want you to feel yourself getting taller through the crown of your head. And then you're gonna hold on, taller through the crown of your head. I just want you to hinge from your hips and back up. If we breathe, it tends to help. Yep. Last one. Good. Let your arms come down. Well, now let's go for a little oh my Lanta arms. We're gonna twist in here. If you're someone with longer arms, you might need to get your foot bar out of the way. I just figure I'll err on the side of caution here. So your elbows relax when you're in this kind of oh my Lanta position. It's kind of like if you had heartburn in like a bad 80s commercial perhaps. Great. So before anything else happens, I want you to twist from your ribs towards your foot bar. Relax your shoulders a little. There you go. And come back through the center. It's really about where your heart's showing to. So what if we tried the same thing? So it's not your shoulder that's trying to do it. It's just showing the heart come back through the center. Ideally, you're able to keep these knees kind of level with each other. That's why I'm here. Twist one more time towards the foot bar. Pause. Let your shoulders go and your elbows go. Could you roll back any amount here? And come back up all the way. And then come through the center. Think about the same thing. It's about your heart. Untwist. Twist one more time to the foot bar. Can you pull this hip back in space? Other one. Pull it back in space. This hip. Yeah. Now try to hinge or roll back. And back up. Great. Come through the center. We're going to twist to the other side. Now pause for a second. Do you feel how you pulled this? We're just trying to keep our hips sort of in alignment with each other. Hinge or roll back. Come back up. Come through the center. Arms get to come down. Let's put on your footwork spring. So you usually use on this peak reformer 2 yellows and a blue, maybe 2 yellows and a red if you want it to be more difficult. If you're on a balanced body machine, it's probably going to be 2 reds and a blue. Maybe you like a green because you go heavier. Do your thing. So the foot bar goes up, and you're going to take off this red one and that middle one. Cool. Come lay down on your back. So a nice thing that I have as I crawl across the screen is this green pad. This is great for helping someone find the curvature of their back. I know you can buy them for too many dollars from Balanced Body, but I bet you could find something like this in a gardening store. It's not very thick, it's got some grip to it, and I would like you to put this underneath the curve in your low back so that when you lay down, you might have to adjust it a little bit. You're almost gonna think that the top of the pad comes really close to hitting the top of what you think of as your hip bones in the back. Great. Would you like your headrest up today?
Yes, please.
Yep. So you're just gonna bring it up?
Yep.
You could take it down one, I think. Right there. Is that better?
Yes.
Great. So arms are going to be down by your sides. And since everyone that I know is working on trying to open up their shoulders, open up their chest, we're going to go thumbs up towards the ceiling. Yep, that's all. Just makes it easier to open your chest. I would like you to start on the balls of your feet. Feet are parallel. Yep. And think about kind of keeping your feet in the exact same place they are now as you press your legs out to straight. And bend the knees and at the hips to come back in. Good. Maybe you can feel a little bit like your legs come together, creating a mermaid tail. It's just the energy. Your thighs are probably a little bit more awake inside and out. Cool. Keep your heels in the same place if you can. Last one of these. Stay with your legs out. Lift your heels for me. Slowly lower both heels for me. Little different than when we were sitting. Lift those heels. Lower those heels. Last time, you're going to lift the heels. You're going to lower the heels. Bend your knees to come all the way back in. Come up to the arches of your feet on that foot bar. Great, toes are kind of pointing. You're gonna push through the arches, you straighten both legs. And bend to come back in. Again, you're bending deeply at the hip and at the knee, and you're not feeling like you have to pick your bum up off the carriage. And you're able to breathe. This is vaguely reminiscent of any time that I've heard someone focus so much on their breathing, they can't even laugh or smile. There you go.
I'm thinking of myself as a mannequin.
That's a great idea. Probably feels a little weird though. You should be more relaxed than that. Come all the way in and put your heels on the foot bar. Flex back from your ankle. Check out your knees. Are they trying to come together or are they in line with that hip joint? There you go. Press your legs out to straight. Aha, now the question becomes, can we keep our feet parallel? Good. You can feel the push. You're resisting the spring on the way back in. Last one. Close the carriage. Arches come wide on that foot bar now. Yeah. We're just gonna take 10 in and out. Remember, we're bending deeply at the hip to keep our bums from trying to pick up or our low backs from trying to help us. Yeah, just keep that heavy pelvis. And you don't have to keep the thumbs up if you just think that they're roughly pointed towards the ceiling. I mean, if you want to look like a weird hiker, that is also acceptable. Make good choices for yourself. Once you've finished your last one, you're going to come all the way in. Bring your knees and your feet together in the middle of the foot bar, all the way together if you can. You can take your hands and hang onto your shoulder blocks or some pegs. We're gonna drop both knees one direction, just stack your feet on top of each other. Yep. And then you can go back through the center, opposite direction, feet are stacked. You get a couple of these, so you can always go deeper the next round. If you turn your head the opposite direction of your knees, it gives you more twist. It's really up to you. Yep. And after you've done several to both sides, we'll meet with your feet up and your knees up. Great. We're gonna need to adjust your springs for arm work. You just stay down, I'll just do it real quick. I'm gonna put you on a single yellow for now, so go ahead and grab your straps. Bring your small loops into your hands. And before anything else happens, straighten your arms up towards the ceiling. And I want you to find that feeling of you have some space between your shoulders and your ears. Your armpits kind of have to kick in for this to work out, so your elbows are kind of straight. We're not gonna go anywhere just yet. I just want you to pick your right leg up into tabletop and your left leg up into tabletop. Breathe. And put one foot down on the foot bar, another foot down on the foot bar. Great. Remember, we're always thinking like we're Wonder Woman who's gonna break a bar in half. It kind of taps you up into that muscle. So keeping this, bring your left leg, one of them, doesn't really matter, and then the other. Breathe. Could you bring your hands all the way down to the mat and let them come back up? Good job keeping those knuckles in alignment with your wrists. It's always a good idea. Pause with the arms down now. Could you stretch this right leg out and up and pull it back in? Left leg out and up, pull it back in. Right leg out and up. Last one on the left. Now let both arms come all the way up. Put your feet down on that foot bar for a second. Take your arms out into a big T. Just a stretch. Yes. If you can find some space here, feel free to. Maybe you straighten your legs out. Just for a second. All right, go ahead, bend your knees back in. feet are down, arms are gonna come back up to the ceiling. So before you go anywhere, you're finding that little bit of tension, and the reason we're doing it on a lighter spring is so that you can find it without trying to force it. So bring one leg up into tabletop, other leg comes up into tabletop, arms come all the way down. Bend at the elbows so your hands are towards the ceiling. So your knuckles are right above your elbows can stay down. First time through, let's just extend arms and legs out and away. So extend arms and legs, and back in. Keep breathing. 2. Could you push? Great, pause here. If you would like, you could pick up your head, neck, and shoulders here. Good, we're just doing 3. Keep thinking about this upward connection. 1, 2. Your arms are actively reaching away from you. Great, everything comes in and down. Put your feet down on the foot bar. Take your arms out into a big T. All right, arms come back up towards the ceiling. You find your little bit of that down and in armpit connection. Nice, bring one leg up into tabletop, other leg up into tabletop. Could you put your heels together, toes apart for me? Great. Extend those legs out. Think about keeping this in your armpits. Bring it back in. There's 1. We're doing 6. 2. You can always reach higher with your legs if you feel like your low back is trying to do the work for you. Lower isn't necessarily better. Last 1. Bring those knees in. Let yourself come down to the foot bar. Take your arms out for a second and pause. You can be palms down, palms up, whatever feels good here. We're going to practice our breathing for just a second, so go ahead and hang up those straps for me. Great, let the carriage close if that's okay. Maybe you part your feet a little bit, yeah. So let's take your hands onto your rib cage. Your fingers are kind of pointing towards your opposite hip, right? We're in a pretty neutral pelvis if possible, so hip bones and pubic bone are roughly level with each other. Relax, there we go. Okay, so first I just want you to take 3 good deep breaths. You're letting your ribs expand and you're fully exhaling. Don't have to do anything fancy here. Last one. Great. On this next 3 sets, could you gently use your hands to push your ribs? Yep, that's all. Last one. Cool. Take your hands off of your rib cage. You have options here. You can bring them kind of to balance on your head. You can bring like a cactus. All depends on what feels better on your shoulders and your neck here. Now, without us going anywhere, can you find that same feeling? You're keeping your neutral pelvis. You're exhaling to connect your ribs. Yeah, great. We're just thinking there's almost like there's a big X across your stomach. And part of the reason that we're doing this is because when you can connect into this upper area of your abdominals, it makes it a whole lot easier to control what's going on with your shoulders. Last one. Great. So close your carriage all the way. Let your hands come back to your straps. Put the small loops in your hands, or handles if you have them. Those can be really nice. Hands come up towards the ceiling. They're in line with your shoulders. Right. Okay, so you find that Wonder Woman breaking the bar feeling. Bring one leg up into tabletop, the other one. Great. They're just going to hang out this time. Arms come all the way down. Turn your palms towards your hips. Start to open out to the side. Pull all the way back into your hips. You just have 5, 4. Slow it down a little bit for me. 3, 2. Last one. Arms are going to come up towards the ceiling. Take them out to the sides a little bit. Bring them in towards your hips. Other hips. That was terrible on my part, goodness. Okay, so we're gonna draw circles. So arms come up, they're gonna come out a little bit and they're gonna come back in. Yep, you're just doing 3 one direction. Hands are actively reaching away from you. Go the other direction. 1, 2, 3. Cool. Arms come all the way up. You close the carriage, put your feet down. Go ahead and switch your hands into the bigger loops. And we're gonna change to our footwork springs. It's good to be able to do it on like a medium and a low spring, so like a yellow and a blue here. Sometimes adding more weight only makes it more difficult to manage your pelvis. So we're gonna do a yellow and a blue today. So your feet are gonna go into the big loops. And I'm gonna get out of kicking distance.
Good idea.
All right. Press those legs out. I want you to find your neutral pelvis. Maybe your thumbs up if you're trying to open your chest. Maybe not if it's not working for you. Great. Press down into those straps just a little. Right there. Can you find that neutral pelvis here? So pubic bone and hip bone are roughly on the same plane. We're going to try to keep that as both legs move up and down. So they come up. Doesn't have to hit 90 degrees. Think about using your butt and the back of your legs to pull it down. You could even part your feet a little bit if you wanted to and see if that gives you a little more range. Yep. Last two. Last one. Bring your heels together, toes apart for frog. So you're bending at the knees and the hips and the ankles. Yes. It's almost like you're pushing something away from you. Yeah. We're doing 6, you're almost there. Last one. Turn your toes back to parallel. Let's do leg circles. Legs are gonna come up, out, down, and together. They don't have to be huge. I'm more interested in you keeping your pelvis pretty neutral while you do this. Great. And then you go the opposite direction. Slow it down a little bit if you can. There. After your last one, go ahead and grab onto your ropes closer to your feet. Can you pull from your armpits instead of your neck? Yeah, think about keeping that tailbone heavy. Maybe you need to bend the knees. I don't know. Try it, see what feels good in your hamstrings. Great. Maybe you take your legs out to the side, find a little inner thigh stretch, just being nice to your hip joints and your neck. And if you'd like, you can come into a butterfly position so the bottoms of your feet are touching. Maybe your feet stay up high, maybe they come down towards the springs. Kind of don't need your hands anymore at this point. Yeah. It's just a hip stretch. Be nice to your knees. Maybe don't do that. Great. Take your feet out of the straps. Hang your straps back up. Come up to seated. Whatever way you want to get there. Okay. So, go ahead and grab your box. It's over there in the corner. You're gonna put it on long box style, which means if you have any pads, you'll need to move them and you'll wanna put your headrest down.
Thank you.
Yes. Once you have that on, go ahead and put the foot bar down. And you're gonna wanna change your springs. So you might need to take all those metal pieces. Oh, yep, they're out of the way. So let's just take off the yellow spring. So you're on a blue. It's a pretty light spring. And I want you to come take a seat on top of the box. I'm going to give you just one spring on this nice push-through bar. Okay. And I'm even going to be so sweet as to push you forward a little bit to grab onto the bar. Whee! So I want you to scoop forward on your box. So your toes might hang off the headrest. That's fine, because you got to have enough room for those legs. Yep. So take a second here. We're going to play with your shoulders. There's just a little tension on the box to help pull you back. So without doing anything else, You find your straight arms. They're about the same height as your shoulders. You find a pretty neutral pelvis. Could you find yourself connecting your armpits a little bit? It's that little break the bar feeling. So it almost ends up pulling you forward a little when you're sitting upright. Yes, great. I want you to start to roll down. So your pelvis is what starts the motion. Yep, you're still moving, moving, moving. Yep, yep, yep. And then come back up. So we're not going quite all the way down, maybe to your mid-back. So it starts at your pelvis. Think about wrapping those armpits. There. And you'll come all the way down and up. If you're someone who gets dizzy, you don't need to put your head all the way back. Let's avoid that. You'll think unkind things of me later. Last one, I want you to come down part way. Stop right here. Could you pick up your right foot? Yep, and put it down. Continue to connect those shoulders onto your back. Yep, other leg. Down. One more each side. Keep connecting. Sit all the way up. Beautiful. Kind of roll over yourself a little bit. Yep. And if you can keep the shoulders from trying to run away from you, you just get this nice little upper back kind of stretch. Great. Let's sit up all the way tall. I want you to get your shoulders over your hips. Yep. We're going to roll down again. So you're moving through that pelvis. Nice. Articulating. Come about halfway up. Pause there. Bring up your left leg. Bring up your right leg. Could you put up left leg? Last one, right leg. Roll yourself up. Let yourself kind of fold over your legs. Yep. Come sit all the way upright. Find those shoulders connected onto your back. Roll halfway back. Think about that bottom of the armpit, right there. Pause right here. Feel as tall as you can through the crown of your head. Pick up the right leg. Pick up the left leg as well.
Whee!
Yeah. Hey, counts. Last one. Great, sit all the way up. Release the bar. Don't worry, you can't break it. I got it. Just reach up and over your own legs for a second in a way that feels good. Be nice to your shoulders, be nice to your neck. I'm gonna take this up and out of the way. You are gonna make sure that you have one strap in each hand. All right, so your palms are facing behind you. You're able to sit up tall. So maybe you lean your upper back a little bit, Diana, so you can connect those shoulders. Remember, we're finding that little bit of the wrap through the back of the armpit. Great. Close your hands around those straps. Knuckles are going to stay down towards the floor. Pull your hands just in line with your hips and release forward. So it's tempting to try and push through the arm. Can you pull and hold right here? Keep holding. I want you to find a little more connection back there. Just a pinch. Yeah, and let the hands slide forward. Great. Pull back and hold. Now turn your face camera side. Turn your face all the way away. Back to the center. Release those hands forward. So we're really trying to feel something in between your shoulder blades. So you pull back. Find that little wrap as you turn your head each direction. Back to the center, release. Okay, last one. Pull and hold. Turn your head to the, yep. Still opening that chest like your shoulders could get wider. Good. Now you're gonna pull back and hold one more time. Nod up towards the ceiling. Up, back to the center. Up towards the ceiling and back down. Up to the ceiling and back down. One more. Up to the ceiling and back down. Release your hands forward. I want you to crisscross your straps now. So they make an X. You might need to, yep. And you're gonna wanna be able to hold on to those puppies in each hand. You might even wanna go up and hang on to the actual ropes themselves. Great. Now, sitting up nice and tall, we're gonna row and twist. So here's the deal. the direction you turn is the arm that's helping. The other arm is just gonna hang out. So I want you to twist towards the camera side, bend that elbow. And try not to use the other arm. So okay, it's just one arm. And back to the center, same thing, other side. Lean your chest back just a little. So I want you to twist with your rib cage, yup. Same thing, other side. Great, come back to the center. After your last one. Go ahead and put your hands into your small loops now. Yep, they're still crisscrossed. Turn your palms up towards the ceiling for me. Yep, so you've got this underhanded grip. Great. I want you to sit up tall. Relax your neck a little bit. Lean your chest back so that your shoulders are a little over the hips. Great. I just want you to do a little bicep curl here. You don't have to get all the way up. One. Now, while you're doing this, can you focus on making your shoulders wider the whole time? Can I come have you lean forward? Just last one. Great. Go ahead and uncross your straps. Hang them up. Big loops are what go on there. Yep, big loop. Other side. All right, we're gonna do some swan. So I'd like you to come lay down on your stomach on top of the box so your head will be towards the foot bar. Whatever way you get into this position is good by me. And we're gonna wanna put that foot bar up. You're gonna wanna scoot forward enough that your chest is probably off the box. It's gonna be a little bit more comfortable. I promise once you get there. All right, so chest is off the box. Do you want me to hold your glasses?
Yes, please.
Okay. Forehead. Now, before we go anywhere, can you feel long through your spine? You could reach through your heels if you want to activate some of that back line, which I think would be good for you today. You're keeping a pretty neutral pelvis. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Great. Elbows come out to the sides. All I want you to do is be as long as possible as you push away from the foot bar and come back in. Remember, we're trying to control that shoulder joint, so you might have to pay more attention to your armpit than you would expect. Try not to pinch it. Yeah, there you go. Come all the way back in. Pause for a second, let your head come down, bend your knees. Your feet can go from side to side like little windshield wipers. Maybe they do it together, or that. Just make sure you do both things with your feet. So now you have to do it and turn your toesy out. Yep. Sure. There. All right, reach your feet out long behind you. You're reaching through your heels again if we're someone who needs to work on our back line a bit. So, I want you to feel long, just press away from the foot bar and pause. Think about these armpits staying connected. You're gonna push down into your hands and start to lift your face. Great, now come back down. Think about connecting into your armpits to bend your elbows to come all the way back in. Yep, push back out. Really think about this upper back, so armpit, 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 armpit. Yes, and back down. And then you bend to come all the way back in. Nice, we've been working on this for a while, so we're gonna push out. Push down into your hands, lift. Find that armpit pulling down. Good, push away from the foot bar to close. Bend your elbows, come all the way in. Let your arms come down for a second. I would like you to add on one more yellow spring for me since you're already here. And the other yellow spring on the other side. So now you've got two heavy springs and your blue. Arms are gonna reach over the foot bar now. We're gonna go for a little swim. We might as well. So even if you only have a box to do this on, it's kind of nice to be off the floor. The only request is that you swim up because that's where the air is. So maybe you let your face look down, pick up the legs, pick up the arms. They're stretching away from each other there. Now start to swim. Arms and legs, arms and legs. Maybe those armpits help you connect your shoulders onto your back. Good. Keep breathing. 3, 2, 1. Relax. Since I made you swim, I'll let you skydive next. So bend your knees so that your feet are towards the ceiling. You're gonna let your arms come out like cactus arms. Great. Can you pick up your upper body and come back down? 3 of these. Keep thinking about this. Upper back, upper back, upper back. Yeah. Last one. Beautiful. Everything gets to relax down now. Yes, just like that. Gently come off your reformer. Take your box. Do you want your pad? And just put it right over where it was, out of the way. Here's your glasses. All right, so just one yellow spring is gonna be on and a blue spring. Come stand on top of your reformer. So you're gonna stand on the carriage. Hands are gonna be on the foot bar, and your hands are gonna be thumbs with your fingers, even though I know you hate that. Let your head drop for a second. Maybe you walk your feet forward or back to a place, maybe walk them back a little. Yeah. So take a second, let your head drop, because it can't help you here, but this part of your back can. I really want you to think you're round through your back, and your shoulders are trying to stay connected through your armpits. Yep. Now pick up just your toes, keep the balls of your feet down. Great. Like you're sliding your heel through the dirt. Open the carriage. And back in. Yep, open and back in. Last 2. Yep, we're using that percussive exhale to help us. All right, close the carriage all the way. Take your right leg out behind you. Doesn't have to be high. Can you do the same thing with just one foot, keeping that roundness? 4, 3, 2, last one, put that foot down. Other leg reaches out behind you. Can we flatten those hips a little? Yep, nice and square. 3, 4, and put that foot down. Great, walk your feet back a little bit. Great, can you find more of a hamstring stretch here in some way without opening the carriage? It's almost like you're pushing your bum back, but not the carriage, right? Now, if you're like me and you have really old equipment, make sure that you don't pull on your foot bar. It's not connected in the same way that new foot bars are. Great. Gently come down and off your reformer. Wonderful. Come lay down on your back. We're gonna switch to 2 heavy springs, 1 blue spring. So here it's 2 yellow, 1 blue. Balanced body, probably 2 red and a blue. Lay yourself all the way down. Great. Now, arms will be down by your side. We're not gonna try to open the carriage just yet. So you can be on your arches or you can be on your heels. Great. I would like you to start by peeling your pelvis up off the carriage. So you're rolling up partway and then come back down. Yeah, maybe it's even smaller than that. And back down. Nice. Great. This time roll up into a shoulder bridge for me. You're gonna push down through the arms because that's part of what helps you. Yep, and then close the carriage and roll down. There you go. So we're gonna peel up into a shoulder bridge. Now I want you to open the carriage a little bit. Close it a little bit. Great, keep your hips up. There you go. Roll all the way down. Great. Widen your feet the width of your foot bar. Now, you're gonna drop your right knee towards your left foot. Maybe this hip comes up with it. Yep, just a stretch through the front of your hip. Come back to the center. Same thing other side. So knee goes down, maybe the hip lifts up. And back down. 1 more each side. Dropping this, getting that hip. Feels nice?
Yes.
And then come back through the center. We're trying to find the same thing, other side. Same kind of hip extension. Good. back to the center. Bring your balls of your feet onto the foot bar. Great. Find that neutral pelvis for me. Press your legs out to straight. So you've got one heel's gonna lift, the other heel will lower. Push through both feet to switch. They meet in that kind of high heely position. Good. And we're going for a run. And you don't have to go fast and you don't have to go slow. It's more about, can you keep your pelvis pretty level? If you look like you're sashaying down a runway, slow it down a little bit. Yeah. 3, 2, 1. Lift both heels, lower both heels. One more lift and lower. Lift. Come all the way back in. And you are all done for today.
Thank you.